Well, I'm a bit perturbed, to say the least. I sat down and recorded and edited a video going over some of the clips that Charlie Kirk put out with his recent podcast that he did with Gavin Newsom. That's right, Gavin Newsom now has his own podcast called This is Gavin Newsom. And I had planned to cover the entire thing in full tonight for the live show, but that is not going to happen because iHeartRadio is like, nah, doesn't matter that free speech or fair use exists. That we don't care about any of that stuff. You cannot use this content at all. So, of course, if you're not familiar, fair use is just the notion that if I use somebody else's material, as long as it's transformative, as long as I'm adding commentary or something, then it's perfectly fine and it is not a copyright infringement. But, of course, YouTube is BS, and the bigger the company, the bigger the name, the more likely they are willing to take that down. So, hit that like and subscribe for me, and let's just talk a little bit about it. So, I didn't get to see the discussion in full, but it is just amazing. It's amazing how stripped down you see these politicians and pundits when they are not in a position where everything is set up for them. You know, you hear Gavin Newsom at speeches, and you're like, all right, well, you know, he speaks well. He sounds like a nice talking dude. But you get him sitting down to actually have a conversation for more than 10 minutes, and it didn't even take that long. It only took a few minutes for it to be exposed that this guy is just running through talking points, and then after that, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no principles. There's not even any positions. All the time I talk about how the left, people on the left, they don't have principles. They just have positions. So whatever is convenient in the moment is whatever they will say is what they believe. And that can change depending on what the situation is. But you can see that when you get past the talking points of someone like a Gavin Newsom, that there's not even any positions. You ask them about something that they weren't specifically prepped on 5 minutes before they were talking, and they'll just ramble. They'll just ramble and bring it around to something else that has nothing to do with the subject that they were talking about. And, I mean, we all know that this is what politicians are like. We also know a lot of pundits are like this, especially, you know, after Don Lemon got fired from CNN. That first podcast with Elon, that was going bad. So, if I have one piece of advice, if you are on TV, if you are a politician, and you want to move into the digital new media space or whatever, go low-key for your first episode. Go low-key for your first episode. Don Lemon thought he was a big brain getting Elon Musk, a big name for his first podcast, right? And Gavin Newsom, same thing. Even though Charlie Kirk isn't, you know, an Elon Musk type name in terms of the ability to cut through the BS, Charlie Kirk is that guy. So I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he thought that would go well. But at every turn, very similar to the discussion that Chris Cuomo and Dave Smith had on the PBD podcast after all the COVID stuff, then it was another very clear example of, this is just somebody who's just been put in a position and then has been given credibility based on that position and has been failing upwards in life for God knows how long. We have no idea. And all of these people are useless. They are worthless. All I can say is I am glad that they are desperate enough that they need to come into the new media space. They need to make podcasts. They need to go on other people's podcasts, because just doing, 5-minute spots on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News aren't enough. Even going on shows like Piers Morgan, where, they got the talking heads and everybody's yelling over each other, even that is not enough.
Guys, can you do me a huge favor? If you're liking the video, please hit that like and subscribe. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it, so hit that bell to never miss a video or stream. Thank you.
And when you sit down and you're actually trying to have a long-form discussion and it doesn't pan out the way you wanted to, that is a very good indication of who somebody really is. Number one, do they actually have things to say that aren't pre-planned? And number two, when they don't know exactly where the conversation is going to go, how do they behave? Are they constantly trying to bring the conversation back to something that they know? Are they constantly trying to bring the conversation back to, well, that's why I'm a good person? If that's the case, then you got yourself a POS. A normal person can just have a conversation, even and especially if it's someone they disagree with. If you're talking to somebody you disagree with, that should be fruit for a lot of things to discuss. And then on the flip side of that coin, if you're talking to somebody who you do agree with a lot of things on, well, there's plenty of stuff to talk about, even if it's not as heated as a debate. Again, just the notion of a conversation. I'm saying things that are in my head, and I'm presenting them to you, and then you encode what I'm saying, and then bring your own. Just the basic notion of a conversation. It is that difficult for these people. And again, I'm just so happy that this is, clearly this is why these people haven't been doing these types of videos and conversations before, because they're not prepared, they're not able. And so I think this is going to force, first, it's going to force us as viewers, constituents, voters, etc. It's going to force us to really reckon with the fact that some of the people that we like maybe are not much more than puppets. Maybe they are just talking points like a Gavin Newsom. But on the other hand, you get somebody like a J.D. Vance or a Vivek Ramaswamy where you get in and you're like, oh, wow, okay, so there is a lot more to this person. I'm glad that I have more time to hear what this person has to say. So that's going to separate the classes of politicians and pundits first. But then it's also a good thing that if you are not somebody who's necessarily great in the conversation realm, that you're not just going to be able to squeak by doing 5-minute spots. You are going to have to try to make a podcast of your own, and you're going to have to sink or swim. I think it's a good thing. I think it highlights how different of a skill it is to just be an orator. You know, we always talk about how Obama was the great orator. But I would be very curious to see what he would be like on a real podcast. I know he did like, what was that, Between Two Ferns or something. But like, if he was really gonna sit down and discuss politics and his positions with people, I feel like he would have trouble. And it's not because he's not intelligent. It's not because he doesn't know what's going on. But because that's not how these people think. They're not in the business of, oh, this is what I think. They're in the business of, what do you guys think? I'll just do whatever is the easiest thing to make me look good. That's all they want. They just want to look good. And they're realizing it's not that easy. It's not that simple. And Gavin Newsom, you tried and you failed. Just like your buddy Don Lemon. I end the podcast now. That's my advice. End the podcast, take your losses, move on. People will still love you for all of the BS that you tell them about California, but you keep doing this and it's not gonna work out. Did you guys see the This is Gavin Newsom podcast with Charlie Kirk? Let me know what you thought in the comments below.